Hello, angelic beings of light. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So is God. So this is a message that I've been guided to do. I wasn't planning on doing this like usual, but this is a very, very different recording, channeling. I've never done something like this, but this is in regards, as you can tell with the title, a message from your father. Now, this could be you're living, if your father is living, somebody who's passed away, someone that you're not in contact with, you had a falling out, there's some tension there. It could be the father of your children, it could be a grandfather, it could even be an uncle, okay? Take it how it's coming to you. There could very well be something here that you need to hear at this time. It could bring you some sort of closure, better understanding. But it doesn't necessarily have to come from your own dad, your own biological father. It could even be a stepfather, okay? Something may hit for you. If you feel that here, even if it hurts, and you know this message is for you, whatever comes through, it is for you. Trust in that, even if it's triggering, even if it's gonna make you question something, even if it's going to cause you to doubt. To bring up, if it's going to bring up anger, bad memories, right? We're transmuting that into positivity. Before I start channeling, before I start disseminating the messages that God has called me to do, to channel, to disseminate, please receive these messages, whatever comes through, with open heart and open mind. This is for your healing, okay? I will be channeling people's names, certain details at the end of this. I will also talk about my personal experience with my own father, with the father of my son. And it's something that God has called me to do. So if this brings up emotions in you, allow them to come through. Somebody drives a white car. I don't know, they're telling me this. If you're driving a white car, this is a big message for you. Just make sure that you understand I am channeling these from God, from the angelic realm. I'm tapping into very high divine frequencies, and I am being a messenger of God to relay these messages for you and however it fits your situation, your story, your life experience. This is not going to be easy for me to say. I'm already channeling. I know it's tough for you. I know you've been hurt, but please know that that's not who I am. That's not who God made you to be. I've been battered, I've been bruised. I did the best I knew how. It was never anything against you. It was everything that I was up against, that I experienced, that I endured. And I hated God for it. I questioned everything. I asked God why I had to go through these things, and I put it on you. There were some things that I withheld from you, some things I didn't want you to know. In some cases, I made it look like everything was fine, but it wasn't. And I'm sorry. But the bigger thing here about saying sorry, whether you think it's too late, it's not the issue here. It is not what is important. What is important is that I am saying this to you now. There is a purpose in everything, in the pain, in the hurt, in the suffering. What I didn't realize is that I was trying, God was trying through me to get to you, to not take it, to not take the pain and the hurt and the belittlement. I tried to control everything because what this was stemming from was my fear. Fear of losing you. Even fear of doing more damage. At times I didn't know what to do. And going back to the part where at times I hated God because of what I went through, and that you may have come into my world when I wasn't ready for you. But this has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. It has everything to do with what I couldn't come to terms with. And I am asking for forgiveness in this moment. But that forgiveness is for you. This was to mold you, to shape you, to learn from me, to do what I couldn't do, to help me to heal too. And I'm asking not only for forgiveness, but for your unconditional love, to see things from a higher perspective, to understand why I put you what I put you through, was to get you to be stronger, was to get you to try to understand it from my point of view, to get you to place yourself in my shoes, that I didn't have it easy either. I was abused, I was neglected, I was cast aside, I had doubts. God was showing me things and calling me to do things, but I needed to put logic to it. I needed to put reasoning to it. I needed to have a concrete answer. An answer I never could find, and at times I'm still trying to understand, to find the written proof, to find the answer why. But what I'm coming to realize is that there is no answer. But the answer at the end of the day is God and God alone. That I need to learn to let go of my past. That I needed to allow God into my heart, and to not question, and to not be angry, and not to harbor resentment, and to not to hold on so tightly to who I thought I was, who I thought I was supposed to be, and how I was supposed to live life, and how I was supposed to dictate your path. But I realize that is not my place. I need you to be better. I need you to understand. Again, this had nothing to do with you. I wasn't taught how to love the way God loves. I didn't see it in my own life, so you cannot judge me. You cannot chastise me for that, because I had no idea. How am I supposed to teach to you what I didn't learn? At times I had poor teachers, and it wasn't from my own parents, it was from people around me. But God was showing me the way, but I doubted it. I didn't believe in it. I was questioning God. Why did you have me be poor? Why did you have me have these parents? Why did I have to go through the struggle? Why do people not believe me? Why do people not trust in me? And so I started to lose trust and faith in God because of it. I didn't want the responsibility. I thought that somebody else was supposed to raise you, raise my other children. Sometimes I thought I needed to be a hard ass. Sometimes I felt I needed to be an asshole. Sometimes I needed to be that way so that you could rise up, so that you could face the challenge, so that you can be in your truth. And that you wouldn't cower away. Because when you cower away, that's where God isn't really present. It's when you face your fears that God is there. And for too long, I was fearful of everything. Of things not going according to the way that I wanted, until I realized the way that I wanted was not of God. the way that I tried to dictate my life ended up leading me to a place of destruction, of more anger, of more resentment, of more uncertainty, of more doubt. And that spiraled out of control. And my anger got the best of me sometimes. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't have people who saw through that. I didn't have people who loved me the way God loved everyone. I didn't believe God could love me the way that He does because of my past, because of what I saw, because of what I've done, because I was angry, because I hated God. I went to other things, substance abuse, alcoholism, drugs, whatever this is. Remember, this is pertaining to your situation, but what I'm saying to you now, I tried to suppress it. I couldn't find a way out. I did not want to be looking inside myself to face the demons, to face my emotions, let alone emote them out. I tried to shield so many things from you, but it backfired on me. And don't think for 1 second it was ever intentional, because it wasn't. I'm calling you again to do what I couldn't do, what I can't do. To love unconditionally, to have compassion, to forgive. Because for so long I couldn't forgive others, let alone myself. And I don't want you to go through what I've gone through in my own life, what I went through in my own life. That is the last thing I want for you. This is to get you to realize that you are a child of God and that you are strong. And even through your own trials and tribulations, even through your own difficulties, there is purpose in it. But you've got to find it within yourself to get out of there. You got to find that lion within you, to have the heart to know that you are bigger than your Goliaths, you are bigger than your challenges, you are bigger than anything that you are going through right now. Because there's always the greatness of God. God is bigger than what you're going through. God is bigger than me, than you, than all of our transgressions, all of our hurts, our pains, our sufferings combined. Learn to let go of what I've done to you. Because I was hurt. I didn't know any better. And this is not to say, well, that's an excuse because you know this, that, you could have learned, you could have, no. It was all for you to learn to overcome it. To see me the way God does, regardless of what you saw, you experienced in your 3D world with your human eyes. I did not walk away from you. I did not abandon you. I did not do these things to you just for fun, just because I felt like it. Yeah, I may have been selfish. Yeah, I may have been looking out for myself. But it all came from a place of fear and control. The devil had a hold on my heart, and I had no idea. I had no way out. The only way out is through. The only way to overcome this is the love of God. To find peace in knowing that people can change. That things can get better, because they always do. But the only way for me to change, for me to see things differently is for you to change on the inside about me, for you to change your perspective about what you've gone through. Try to go past that. Try to see it from my world. Try to ask me questions about my childhood, about what I went through and why certain things had to go through the way that they did. And even if it may not have been as bad, if I have left you in any way, it was for your highest good. Be you changing your heart posture, you feeling into that you're not a victim. This was not done on purpose. It was God's will in the end. And you are called to be an example of that peace, of that Christ consciousness, of that forgiveness, of that compassion, of that understanding, so that other people can see through you that there is solace, there is comfort, there is hope, there is bliss, there is peace in all of this. But it starts with you. And the more you change your perspective on this, the more you see me through the eyes of God, the more you forgive, the more you try to stand up to me in a divine way, the more you start to challenge me and to get me to see things differently, the more you will melt away the ice around my heart. The more you will bring down the walls like the walls of Jericho. And you don't have to use a sword, a hammer, a crane, a wrecking ball. You don't have to use anything to get to me that way, because it never works. But that's what I've done to you. Now I'm realizing that doesn't work. I need you to show me what love is. I need you to give me the love that no one has ever given me. And to say, you know what, Dad, or Grandpa, or Pop, or whatever, or ex-husband, you know what, so-and-so? You helped me to learn something important here. You helped me to stand up for myself. You helped me to not tolerate this type of behavior. You helped me to not take it, to not be a victim. Because God doesn't birth victims and mean people onto this planet. So I'm saying to you now, to allow me in, back into your world, so I can learn from you, so I can see God in you, so that I can see God in other people too, including my own parents, including my own siblings, including all these other people that I'm harboring anger and resentment for, because that gets no one anywhere. I tried to keep you from going down the route that I did, and it didn't work the way I wanted it to. I'm learning the hard way that trying to control things gets me nowhere, and maybe you've gotten that from me too. Maybe I instilled so much fear in you that you allowed people to run you over, to be a doormat. Or it could be the opposite. I controlled so much, I instilled fear in you, and now you are doing the same thing I am doing, controlling other people and instilling fear in other people and doing things the way you want them to be done because you want everything to go according to you. When you are getting in your own way and you are stepping on God's toes by doing that. I am needing you to stand up to me, to stand up for myself. call me out on my bullshit. But to not do it in a degrading way. To come from a place of love while you do it. Ask me the hard questions. Ask, I need to better understand you, Dad, Pop, whoever this is for you. Help me to get closure on what this was, what you were thinking. Like, what do I not know that you need me to know? And if I can't tell you, try to pick it up on your own. Try to read between the lines with what I tell you, with my actions and not my words. Help me to open up. Help me to let my guard down so that I can open up to others and I can let my guard down to others too. I need you to help me, which will also help me help you. We all go through some sort of pain, some sort of help. There's not one person on this planet who doesn't. But what we are also here to do is these things are to help us heal, to help other people heal. When we see through the past, through the pain, through the hurt, through the suffering, through the betrayal, through the abandonment, there's wisdom gained in this. Cast aside all the logic. Cast aside all of the, I need to know the answer. I need to have concrete proof. It needs justice. It needs to be justified. No, it doesn't. God is the only one who justifies anything. He's the only one who gives us the justice in everything. He's the ultimate God. He's the ultimate judge. Judgment is the world's #1 problem. The more we move past all of this, the better we will become as people. And it starts with our own fathers, because it's a distortion of the masculine energy. And the majority of the distortion of the masculine energy stems from the distortion of men. This is not a death to the patriarchy. This is not woman is better or whoever is better. You are getting in God's way when you start following that mantra, when you start following that belief system, that way of living. So I'm asking you, as your father, to see me through the eyes of God, as others would want to see you too, because you are not perfect either. No one is. Learn from all of this. You will heal from all of this when you gain the wisdom from what I have done to you, from what you've seen me do with your mother, with your siblings, with other family members, or whomever else. Don't be like me. Learn from my distorted self so that you can help teach me to be aligned with my divine self. You've gone through this with me because you are the chosen one to help me to release who I am not. And I know you see it, but sometimes you don't want to see it and you don't want to admit to it because of your lower ego, your pride. When you go that route, you're becoming just like me. It's like that song, Cats in the Cradle, right? I don't remember who the musician, the band is, but I think some of you need to look up that song. That's a very powerful song. There's also the song called Father and Son, I believe, and I can't remember the artist for that either. But going back to these messages from your Father is asking you to listen to these songs. Your Father is asking you to forgive. We can all learn from this. I am needing to release control, and I'm asking you to help me with this. Be the example that I never had. Be the teacher that I never had. Even with me knowing about God and Jesus, I just did not, I could not. It would not sit well with me because it made no logical sense why I would go through things, why things are happening in the world, why God would allow destruction and poverty and war. There's purpose in all of that too. We have the power to change the world. And it starts with us, and it starts with our own mothers and our own fathers. And one by one, we will start to see the grace of God fall upon each and every one of us when we give ourselves that grace and we give that grace to our own fathers. Give that grace to me, because you are capable, because God has given you grace in everything you've done. You are of God, which makes forgiveness, peace, hope, grace, mercy possible. It is in your heart. Harden not your heart. It gets you nowhere, just like it got me nowhere. Just like it led me to how I dealt with you, to how I treated you, or maybe I was never around. I bailed. I didn't know how to handle it. So take that as a blessing if this is your story. Because it could have been way worse for you. I did what I felt I needed to do. It has nothing to do with you. So please understand this. It is all part of the grand design. Teach me how to love the way God loves all of us. You are the one who can do this. I need to feel it, to see it from you. It is the greatest gift anyone can give to man. Because I've never had anyone who can love me the way God does, who can see me the way God does, and you are the one who can do it. All I want is peace from here on out. All I want is forgiveness. But the forgiveness starts with you. It's for you to live a life of peace, tranquility, blessings, and miracles. A hardened heart does not attract these things. To include any relationships that you've been in. You could have very well attracted relationships that were similar to mine, my marriage, my relations with your mother, other people. But you don't have to go through the same thing. You're better than that. But know that I am always here. Whether you want me there or not, this is now the time, if you don't want me there, to allow me back in, because that's where the healing begins. And if I didn't back you up, I didn't stick up for you, I didn't support you, again, I am sorry. I am deeply, utterly sorry. I couldn't, I wouldn't, I didn't know how. However that occurs, however that happened for me, I didn't know any better. I was fearful. I needed to protect myself. Protecting myself just puts a shield over myself, and I block out everyone and everything to include God's love, to include the love from you. This is where the healing begins. Where you open up your heart and you let me back in. And you see me for how God sees me, just like how God sees you. How God's given you grace, He's given you mercy. This is where the pain, the anger, the resentment, the bitterness is going to melt away. Watch how God moves in your life when you do this. Your world will change in a dramatic way for the better. But I've always been there, even when you thought I wasn't. You just didn't see it that way. Allow me to heal you going forward. Cry it out if you need to. Punch a wall if you need to. But no, I was not out to get you. I wasn't here to make you suffer. I was here to make you soar above all of that, to rise above all of it. To be able to have the inner strength to overcome it. For you to build a stronger relationship with God and to seek the wisdom from God in the purpose of why we went through what we went through, why I did what I did. Because it was always for your highest good. It would be nice to hear from you, whether in prayer or a phone call or a text. Just to say hi. Sometimes I want to do it, but I can't. Because I don't like the way things went between us. I don't like the way things left. And yeah, I might be asking you for something again. Yeah, I might be talking your ear off about or complaining. Try to be understanding. Or try to give me some words of encouragement, because I don't get that. A lot of people see me as a monster. A lot of people see me as an asshole. A lot of people see me as a good for nothing. A low life. You can't do anything right. That's not what I need right now. It's not what anybody needs right now, not in this day and age. Give me scripture. Make a joke. Make me laugh. Point out something that I did right. Don't focus on everything that I did wrong. Because while you want to believe it or not, there is something there that I did that was right, that was for your highest good. Seek the wisdom in this. And know that God has always been there but it's a matter of us allowing God in. What can we do for God in this moment? What we can do for God in this moment is to give our love, our unconditional love, our peace, forgiveness to our fathers. And however that seems fit for you. I'm asking again for your forgiveness. I'm asking, give me a glimmer of hope. Give me a word, give me a sign, knowing that God is there, that He is righteous and just, that He is all-loving. Because at times I still have a hard time seeing it, especially with what goes on in the world. And at times I've tried to get people to see God the way I did, and people didn't. I didn't get the support. I didn't get the understanding, so I went the opposite direction. And that direction led to more destruction. Know that I love you. I've always loved you. It may have been a tough love, but I always did. And if I have left you in any way, it was because I was doing something for you. Whether you liked it or not, whether you saw it or not, is not the issue here. Know at this time, in this hour, in this very moment, whatever I did for you, for your highest good, to get you to be better than me, to get you to be stronger, to get you to be closer to God. I pray you have a beautiful day. And that you see me through the eyes of God, and that you allow me back into your heart so we can finally begin the healing. I love you more than you know. Don't leave me behind. Okay, that was 37 minutes of channeling. A bit longer than I thought. So again, take this how it fits. It could be an ex-husband, it could be someone who's already left, stepfather, uncle, take it, whoever you felt was speaking to you. Could be multiple males in your family. Archangel Raphael is very strong right now. I was actually wearing a different outfit today, and God told me to change and wear green. To put on green jewelry and all that stuff. It's a color of healing. It's a color of peace, nature, allowing things to unfold, and to trust in the process. So I will speak about, before I get to that, I will speak about my own lesson learning with my own father. But I'm hearing the names Phil, Raymond, Jim, Joe, John, Jonathan, Tom, Thomas, Robert, Bob, Randall, Randy, Richard, Ritchie, Ed, Edward, Edgar, Alexander, Alejandro, Enrique, there's Eric, there's Enzo, Ezio, Mac, I heard Mac Daddy, Philip, Peter, Simon, Matthew, Michael, Joseph, David, Christopher, I'm hearing Thomas again. Ludacris? Okay, that's kind of interesting. Usher. I'm hearing Donald, David again, Abner, Eliab, Saul. I'm hearing James, Jimmy, Tariq, Tamir, Tyson, Tawana, it's kind of a female name. I'm hearing Trey, Terrence, Stephen, Sasha, Nathan, Nate, Namibia, Africa I'm hearing Russia now, I'm getting countries, Puerto Rico, Sausalito, Huntington Beach, Los Angeles, California, British Columbia, Ontario, India, Calcutta, Tokyo, Shanghai. I'm hearing Adam, Andrew, Billy, Julio, Don Julio, Julian, Julius, I'm hearing Julius Caesar, Jesus. I'm hearing, there's mosquitoes all around here if you try to see what I'm doing. If you're wondering why I'm swatting. Christopher, Christy, Christina, Caleb, Callum, Corey, Caleb, Ethan, Edwin, Fred, Frederick, Freddie, Farmhouse, 1969, 1976, 1861, 1942, 1930, 1934, 1932, did I say that already? 1936, 1977, 1970, 1980, 81, 85, 84 of the 80s, 2009, 2010, 2020, 2000, 1912, 1940, 1918, October, December, January 6, Sagittarius, someone in the tech world, something with engineering, doctors, lawyers, purple glasses, curly brown hair. Someone is called the Care Bear. There's something with the Care Bears. Pookie, Oscar, Omar, Ontario, Osvaldo. These mosquitoes really want to attack me right now. Farmland, Hawaii, Minnesota, Ezra, Jason, Seattle, Washington, Miami, Atlanta, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Disney World, Mississippi, Paxton, Princess Aurora. Aurora is coming in. There's a lot coming through. So if that was for you, that's for you. If not, don't worry about it. But before I talk about my own father, I do want to mention that I do offer relationship healing. I do it in a very unconventional way. I do it with crystal grid healing. And what's funny is that I've never done this in a video. God told me to get an amethyst tumbled stone and hold it while I was channeling. Amethyst does tie into the crown chakra, higher levels of consciousness. This is Christ consciousness here. Anyway, so I do mindfulness and alignment meditations, one-on-one visualizations with people. I do relationship grid healing. one with your father or whoever this is pertaining to with your healing would be wonderful. The relationship grid healing is different for everybody. Archangel Raphael does oversee that healing. I'm very strongly connected to him. I do use different type of crystals and in a geometric shape to support the healing. There is also some other further guidance that you're being given to kind of amplify the healing once the session is done. I support you with that. There's also checking in if you wanted to check in on your father or whoever this is for you, check in on their energies or check to see how they're doing. I also do handwritten letters. You may want to invest in booking something with me where I write down a letter from your father, your grandfather, or your ex-husband, whatever that is. You could even be a child who may be a father later, okay? I do those as well. Even if they've passed on, I am a medium as well. I can channel things from the other side, as they say, and I write them down. You get to see me write the literal handwritten letter, and you'll have a recording of it. And you will get to see what this person has to say to you. If you want some sort of closure, this may have brought up something for you to get more information pertaining to your father, whoever this is for you. I do offer those things, but my main thing is healing. And I will segue into my own relationship with my own father. So growing up, to not give too much, because this will probably be like a 10-hour video, I did see some form of mental, emotional, verbal abuse between my father and my mother growing up. It actually affected my relationships later. What it did was, my father has a temper. If anyone is tying into zodiac signs, he is an Aries sun with a Scorpio moon. That is very challenging. Those of you who don't tie into zodiac signs, don't worry about this. This still is a message from God. That's going to be significant for some people. My dad almost died of pneumonia when he was very, very little. There were some other things with that. There have been some patterns in my father's side. I interviewed my father a few years ago when I found this out. A lot of controlling, a lot of very possessive people, violent people as well. So my father was carrying this, and as I was learning to get to know more about my father, I was understanding why my father was acting this way. He would, you push the red button, volcanoes would come out. And I'm not saying this in spite of my father, because I love my father dearly. I actually love him more than I did, before I moved back into their house, and that's a whole other story. But I started to learn where this was coming from. And over the years, I was very fearful of my father. As I got older, that treatment was put on me as well, and that just took a turn for the worse. And by the grace of God, and I'm not saying this to be saying, ha ha ha, I'm better. I did not see any physical abuse, but I know a lot of you have seen that with your own fathers or stepfathers or whomever in your life. Maybe you're one of these men who's kind of in that, but that is not you if this is you. So there was the other types of, again, within the controlling stuff. My father was very controlling of a lot of things, and, that really shaped me into becoming a doormat. I was really afraid of my dad, and we all know that fear is a demonic spirit. A little bit of fear can be positive for us, but when you are cowering away, when you're afraid to stand up for yourself, when you're like, it's like, oh my God, this is the scariest thing ever, that's not of God, right? We shouldn't allow anyone or anything to instill fear in us, because what does that do? It takes away our power, right? It makes us feel less than, it makes us feel like a victim. So in this, as I got older, I was harboring, the little that I know, a little bit of resentment and anger towards my dad, and because of how he treated my mom. And I also saw the treatment of my grandparents, his mother and his father, and I didn't like it, I'll be very honest. And I'm like, what is this, And there were times where I thought that I was like forgiving of him and all that stuff, and but there was still anger and bitterness there. And It wasn't until I had a huge life change where I lost my house. I lost 90% of everything I ever owned. I used to be a systems engineer for 20 years. My father is an engineer, so I thought he and I would bond that way, but my father and I did not have the father-daughter bond that I always wanted, okay? But I'm now realizing why that was. To me, he was closer to my sisters than he was to myself, and my sisters are younger than I am. You know, and that ended up being, I ended up being a little bit jealous because of that, if I'm being completely vulnerable, because I'm like, well, why didn't I have that type of thing? But again, the wisdom gained when you look further past all the bullshit in the 3D world, okay? I learned a lot from this. It helped me to become who I am now and to not be a doormat anymore. I'm now the freaking door frame, okay? This is why we go through these things, and our fathers are supposed to really shape us into these strong people, especially if you're female. So there's an Amazon person coming in. I'll be right back. I am back. This is funny because I was not planning to record this in the front of the house, but my mom's been sitting in the back of the house, so God's like, you gotta change it up. So I was talking about with my father about comparing my relationship with my father to my sisters, okay? We can't compare those things either. If you guys have siblings, oh, they treated them better, whatever. No, there's a purpose for everything. All the relationships are gonna be different. So I had to learn to overcome that. But and then there was when I had my big life change where I lost my house. I lost 90% of everything I ever owned. I quit my career as a systems engineer because God told me to before all this happened. I went through a major ego death, a major transformation. My old self was dying hardcore, and I was becoming who God wanted me to be through all these things. Learning more about forgiveness and understanding and like who I really am to God, who God sees me as. When I had to move back to Florida from Maryland, I ended up moving back in with my parents. The first year was very rough. What happened was I had changed significantly. I came more into my firepower. I am a Leo rising and a Leo North node, so I was becoming more confident in myself and coming from the heart, but being like roaring like a lion, right? But what happened was with my dad and I got into very heated arguments in front of my son, because I have a son who will turn 16 soon, and I'm divorced, by the way, and it just got bad sometimes, and it just ruffled my feathers, and it made me more angry. I'm like, Dad, why can't you see it this way? You know, type of thing. And it's like you're judging and all this stuff, and I was still judging my father because of it. But I was also trying. I'm a very passionate person when I do, and I was trying to get my father to see it the way God sees it, the way I have learned, right, about looking at the bigger picture and coming from a place of love. It's like love your neighbor as you love yourself, love thy enemy, right? And we started to butt heads, and that had never happened in the history of my father and me, right? But I knew I had changed a lot because I was standing up to my dad, right? And there were other times where he would say these things to me that were not nice, let's just put it that way, and I would not take it. Now, there is such a thing as honoring thy mother and thy father, respecting, but when you're being disrespected, that's when you're like, no, you can't do that to me. I'm going to come to you and like speak my peace, speak my truth, and not be afraid of doing so, right? There is still a level of respect there, but when you're not being respected, like, how are you going to give that respect back to that person? You should come from a place of unconditional love, but the other thing is you don't tolerate that behavior. So when that started to happen, I started to make my arguments. I started to try to get my father to see it differently, right? And to get him to, like, he didn't have all the facts. So I was giving him some of the facts about what my own life experience, right? And that started to change things. There was a moment where there was a fire in our house, and it just caused a whole huge, like, blow up in the house, to the point where, like, my dad was in my face. I thought that he was going to do something. And I remember saying very sternly, and I looked him in the eyes and I said, I'm just trying to help you, Dad, right? Because I'll be honest, I felt my dad, he was about to have a heart attack. Those of you who deal with people who are feisty, who are fiery, they blow up a lot. that raises your blood pressure. A lot of people, it causes strokes, it causes heart attacks. We know this stuff, right? You get riled up. Anger, bitterness, resentment does cause that too. And so I said to him, I'm just trying to help you. And I've never felt so much fear in my life. But here's the thing. I stepped up to my dad and I told him why I was trying to get him, because I was yelling. I was like, God, Dad, like, relax, you gotta calm down. And he didn't like it, right? He thought I was being disrespectful, what I found out later, but I wasn't. I was trying to save my father's life. I have predicted deaths for people. I have predicted very horrible things like car accidents and cars being totaled and literally people dying. I do have that gift. I do have the gift of calling out demons and seeing the dark side of people and trying to bring them to the light. So I saw this and I had to do something to get his attention. And I've never felt so afraid in my entire life. And I thought something was going to go horribly wrong, but I faced what I couldn't face about my father in that very moment. And this happened December of 2021. It was right before Christmas. And after that, I remember wearing my Zach Thomas jersey that day. That was the day that Miami Dolphins had that beat the Denver Broncos 72 to something, or 70 to something. And after that altercation, I went to my room and I broke down. I was so hurt. And I was angry at God. I said, God, I'm trying to help my dad out. Why am I getting this treatment? But then God was like, look what you were able to do. You were able to face your father. Even though I was facing him with those arguments and all those other things, but this was very different. But do you know what I did after that? Instead of harboring resentment and anger and bitterness towards my dad's a fucking asshole, this, and that. I can't believe he did this to me. I'm his daughter. I don't deserve it. I was like, I don't deserve this, God. What's up with this? And a lot of you are thinking the same thing. I don't deserve that treatment. I don't know, but think of it differently. How is this building you up? How is this part of your purpose to get you to stand up to these people, to these Goliaths, to these challenging people, to these people that you see as assholes or mean or controlling, right? Look at it differently. And I literally got down on my knees and I prayed. I said, God, help me to see the purpose in this, to see the light. And he did. And again, he said, look what you were able to do. You faced your fear of confronting your father, of trying to get him to relax, to calm down, because you felt that he was about to have a heart attack in that moment. Because who's to say my father could have just collapsed and died right there? And if I wouldn't have said anything, that would have been on me, because I wouldn't have acted because I was fearful, speaking my truth and my peace to save his life. And so I got down on my knees and I was praying real hard and I said, God, and he brought me in stillness and in silence. God gives us the clarity and the understanding. And I was blessed enough to receive that because I had worked so hard on myself for him to be able to tell me these things. Because sometimes God doesn't explain things to us. He doesn't give us the answer. But what I ended up doing in that moment, tears coming down my face. I had a really rough day already. The devil was on my ass. He was on me like flies on shit, like white on rice. And I literally got down on my hands and knees and I prayed and I looked up and I'm sobbing like, God, help me to forgive my dad. I know this is not who he is. I know this is not what he wanted to do. He just lost it. He came from a place of fear, didn't know what to do. He did not like that it was calling out on him, all these other things, whatever else I didn't know. And I said, God, please put peace in my father's heart. Give me the understanding to know what this was really for. Please take all anger, bitterness, resentment, all low vibrational energy from me and replace it with peace, replace it with understanding, replace it with comfort, replace it with compassion. because I had learned so much through my own healing before that incident that that was not my dad. The devil was there. And I know the devil was really, really ramping things up for me to get out of alignment with my purpose and with God. To go back to being angry and resentful and like, my dad this, my dad that, right? To undo what I had done with my healing, because my light was getting brighter, because the devil also knew that I was starting to change my dad. And so I stood in my room all day. I kind of stayed away from my dad for a couple of days, and then I had to get myself back up. And then I started to say hi to my dad, ask him how he was doing. And then later on, his birthday came around, and I picked out a card that I didn't think he deserved. And all these beautiful messages in it, and I said, no. I need to change it up. Because I know better. That is not my dad. God is in there. And everything that I've learned about my father, I've gained the wisdom to understand I can't combat my dad with fear, with anger, with judgment. I need to give my dad the unconditional love anyway. And here's the thing. A lot of people were telling me, your dad needs to say sorry. He needs to apologize. I said, no, he doesn't. That moment of prayer, that night that it happened, that December, when I got down on my knees, literally, I said to God, I forgive my dad. My dad doesn't need to say sorry. He doesn't need to apologize. When you're able to do that, you are definitely aligned with God. When you don't need the apology, when you don't need the explanation, when you don't need the sorry. And my heart just expanded to a higher level of consciousness. I felt God flowing through me and out of me like never before. And I gave him that card, and I thanked him for his sacrifices. I thanked him for challenging me. I thanked him for all he's ever done, because I know it's been hard for him, especially as a provider of a family, but with 3 girls and a wife, right? Back when we were kids. And my dad went through a lot of hard times, because my dad is dark skinned, he's Puerto Rican, and he's a very brilliant man. And a lot of people judged him. There was racism that was placed against him at his job. When he was growing up, he wouldn't amount to anything. People didn't believe he was going to make something of himself. He was going to be an engineer. He was going to be successful. He was going to make money, right? People were assuming all these things of my dad, and that my dad held that, right? And nobody really appreciated my dad. They were focusing on all the assumptions, the judgments, as opposed to what my dad was doing well. Right? And so, and of course, there are ancestral patterns with this. So then after that, I gave my father this card, and it changed everything. And I thanked him for allowing me and my son to stay in their house rent-free, right? They're not having me pay for rent or utilities. And I was worried about that too. And, I still had to be grateful, even though when my first year living here, it was a huge challenge. And I thought I was out of the woods, and I wasn't. And God's like, you still have unfinished business here. And I know my father and I have this past life karmic stuff that we had to close out. And that changed everything, because I could not have that lack of forgiveness here, because that was gonna prevent me from having somebody in my life, like a divine partner, who is of high caliber, who is more than everything I could have wanted to come into my life. It would have blocked me from other things being abundance, bigger miracles, bigger surprises, bigger blessings coming in. An open heart filled with God's love pours in all the most beautiful, amazing, peaceful, glorious things into your life. A hardened heart doesn't. A closed heart doesn't. That anger, that bitterness, that resentment that sits there, you're allowed to feel that like I did. You're allowed to allow that to kind of set in, but you need to learn to release it like I did. And that opened the gateway for so many things. And that was really the true beginning of my healing. To let that go and to see my father for who he really is as a child of God. And when I changed that, and I also did a lot of work on myself, to love myself, to not see myself as a victim, to not look at myself like I'm a failure, or I'm unworthy, or I'm not deserving, or I'm not beautiful, or I'm not intelligent, or I'm not whatever, right? I worked so hard on myself to see myself the way God sees me, to be in my power, to not be a doormat anymore, to not allow anyone to treat me poorly, to take away my power, to take away my worth. No, when that happens, you're giving your power away. When you're not standing up for yourself and knowing who you are as a child of God. And so giving that card to my dad changed so many things. But I had to work up to that. And I had to let that incident go and fully let the past go. And then I realized when I came here, I didn't really forgive my dad like I thought I did. And that changed everything. And that helped me to be more forgiving of other people. Right? This included how I forgave my ex-husband a long time ago. I don't blame him for the divorce. Look, there's a black cat. Hi, kitty. Look right at the camera. That's a sign right there. Cats are about esotericism, independence, coming from a higher place of consciousness. They're very independent, but we still need people in our lives. Oh, great. Is that my mom? Anyway. I'm gonna close it again. I'll be right back. Maybe not. Maybe she's going the other way. Anyway. I'm gonna get to this. This is, I'm not editing this because God doesn't want me to. So I gave my father that card and I felt his heart open up because I knew he knew that he didn't apologize, that what he did really wasn't of God, and I let it go. And then I started, even though my father and I were disagreeing, I said, Dad, help me understand. Why do you feel this way? Why do you get angry about what's going on in the world? Or like, what is it? And the times he would let his guard down. And he felt uncomfortable because I could see it. He felt vulnerable, right? But he needed to get that out. And so then Father's Day came. I gave him another very heartfelt card, and the I love yous were coming out. Because my dad never really said I love you growing up, and it changed everything. Because I changed my view of my father. Because I changed the way that I saw him. I loved him the way God loves him. And you know what that did? He started to treat my mom better. He started to treat my grandparents better. Because even my dad had a hard time being respectful towards my mom's parents. Okay. And this is not to air out dirty laundry or to, we all have issues. This is not to make my family look bad, right? We all go through these things, but this is a teaching point. God is utilizing me to be an example for you to better understand how to handle these things, to see it for what it is. Not see it for what it is, but see it from a different perspective. See it the way God sees it. God called me to change my father's heart. I had to swallow my pride. I had to let go of the past. I had to stop, I can't feel like a victim, and I can't be harboring this stuff and continuing to treat my father like most people do. Or to call him a certain way, or a volcano, or whatever it is, I was softening my dad's heart. I was breaking down the walls of Jericho without forcing it. It's like they say, kill him with kindness. Heal him with unconditional love. That's the only way the ice is going to melt. The walls are going to break down. This is about being of service to God. God, how do you want me to fix this? Or what do you want me to do with my dad in this situation? And God says, forgive. Treat him with kindness. Don't harbor that. Do extra. Give him that really heartfelt card. I always gave him cards, but it was the messages that were different in what I wrote. I always wrote nice things, but again, it's what I was really coming from the heart to, again, the appreciation anyway. The fact that I still have my dad in my life. The fact that he's allowing me and my son to still live here, to provide for us. I do some other provision, but he takes care of the bigger things right now. And if I wouldn't have been grateful for that, God would have really given me a harder lesson to learn. And so that trickled down to how he interacted with my mom, my grandparents, my sisters, other people, and the world. This is what servitude to God is. We put our egos aside. What we think is best for us and for other people, but we always come from a place of compassion, divine feminine energy, love. And you know what? There's so much more peace in this house, it's not even funny. There's been a huge shift, not only within me, but in my dad. And you know what this is also doing? This is also helping with my dad's health. You see how we gotta put our egos aside? We gotta put our whole victim card, burn the card, burn the victim card. Because you're not a victim. I learned so much just from my father alone, and I didn't really see it at the beginning. And my dad, he's a jokester. He makes these hilarious jokes. He's a lot more jokey these days. He's a lot more at peace. Who doesn't want peace for those that we love? Who doesn't want divine optimal health for those that we love? Right? They deserve to be happy. They deserve to be at peace. They deserve to be healthy, just like the rest of us. It doesn't matter what we've done. What matters is if we're going to learn from it, if we're going to grow, we're going to evolve, and we're going to be these people who are going to be true daughters and sons of God. And to let the past in the past, and to allow ourselves to forgive, and to help with the betterment and the healing, not only for ourselves, but for other people at the same time. We have to put our selfish ways away when it comes to helping other people. And this even elevated my consciousness. It elevated my gifts. It allowed me to really hear and see God in a more potent way. I started to experience massive blessings and gifts and people and miracles that are unexplainable. There's no explanation into what I've been able to receive. To include someone who came into my life where I saw them for who they were. And this person is going to change the world. And this is God giving me someone that I deserve. Someone who exceeds my expectations, and someone who really supports me in the way that I've always wanted to be supported. I've always wanted to be treated. I'm treated like a goddess. But I had to treat myself as that goddess. I had to be in my power. And I could not allow anyone, to include my own father, my ex-husband, anybody else that I've run into, to take that away from me. And this is what God wants you to have too. Because it is possible. But it starts with you. And it starts with our fathers. And any other male that you feel has done wrong to you. And then you're going to be examples to your kids, if you have children, to other people, that it can be done. And that things get better. And then it it's a ripple effect. It's a domino effect with this unconditional love and this understanding, this peace among us that is attainable. But again, that peace starts with us, not with them. We are the catalyst for that. And so my relationship with my father is completely different. And it feels glorious inside here. I feel even more joyous, more at peace. Even the health levels are even higher than what they were before. And I'm be able to create miracles for other people at the same time. Miracles for my father, my family, my son, those that I care for. And now I'm getting all these things that God knew I was deserving of, but I had to let this bullshit go. I had to sacrifice things that I love the most, things about myself, for the betterment of others, so that they can fulfill their purpose, so that they can do what God called them to do. And so I ask you in this moment to really allow your fathers in, to see them the way God does, because it will change everything. But it's going to be for you in your healing. And when you start to heal, they will start to heal, and they will see through you that God is there, that unconditional love does exist, that forgiveness does exist. And watch how your world changes. If you need support and helping you to have forgiveness for your father, for whoever else this is, how this is resonating for you, to start the healing, working with me to start the healing with your father, or grandfather, or ex-husband, whatever this is, to help you to understand where your father is coming from, because maybe some of you don't have access to your dad, or they've passed on or something, or you can get a handwritten letter to see what they want to tell you at this time. Okay, all the information is in the description box. If you go to my website, okay, even some of my healing bracelets could very well support you, amplifying the healing. As a reminder, with the focal beads in my bracelets, to create this triangular energy grid to help you with your healing with your father. And if you're the father, this could start to be where I help you to work with your healing. And this could be you working with your own father. Or you helping, if you're the dad here, to overcome some things, seeking the help that you've been afraid to ask for. So if you go to my website and you are led to something that calls to you, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to click on the book now button and to connect with me to start your healing. It's got to start from the inside out. Based on my own testimony, it does work. It is a thing. God wants this for each and every one of you. So that's what I have for right now. Until we meet again, peace be with you.